are and what we do. At Duggan Systems, we design, manufacture and install architectural facades for our clients and contractors. Through our dedication to quality at every stage, we have built a rock-solid reputation across the industry. And we have provided glazing and facades for high-profile projects across Ireland. Safety statement. Duggan Systems aims to provide a safe and healthy work environment for all our employees, as well as to meet our duties to contractors and members of the public affected by our work. Health and safety is everyone's responsibility. Duggan Systems' safety statement is there to help you understand how you play your part, detailing workplace policies, procedures, and risk assessments for hazards you may come across during your work with us. Method statements. For all our work, a method statement has been created. This method statement sets out in detail how to complete a task safely, outlining the safety standards involved and the control measures to be implemented. It is your responsibility to ensure you have read, understand, and sign the method statement before you commence works. It's also your responsibility to report without delay any changes required to the method statement. For example, the work sequence changes, or if you're using a different method of access. In essence, the method statement is an agreement that the task will be approached in a specific, planned way, so it's a vital safety aid on the job. PPE. On the production floor, we operate a mandatory 3-point personal protective system. High-vis vests, safety boots, and ear protection. In the yard, we operate a mandatory 3-point PPE system. High-vis vests, safety boots, and a hard hat. On site, we operate a 5-point PPE system. High-vis vest, safety boots, hard hat, safety gloves, and safety glasses. Task-specific PPE includes cut-resistant gloves and sleeve, dust masks, lanyards, and harnesses, depending on the work you or others are completing and the hazards generated by that work. Housekeeping. Good housekeeping is everybody's job. Keep your work area tidy, clean, and organised at all times. It's important to clean as you go. Be careful not to create slip, trip, or fall hazards while you're working. Keep walkways and fire exits clear of debris. Use designated storage areas for materials and ensure materials are safely secured using exclusion zone barriers where applicable. Manual handling. A good quantity of the works with Duggan Systems Limited involves manual handling of loads. Manual handling training is provided to all employees specific to their work tasks. This training is repeated on a routine basis. To reduce the risk of manual handling tasks, you must first think about the job at hand and decide how you are going to reduce the likelihood of a potential injury. First, attempt to eliminate the manual handling task. If this is not practical, implement a mechanical aid such as a gantry crane, forklift, teleporter, pneumatic glass sucker, or trolley, etc. Perform a team lift. Assess the number of team members you need depending on the weight and size of the load. Ensure there is one leader and continuous communication throughout the lift. Always assess the work area and the load, ensuring you or your team members reduce the distance required to carry a load and ensure you are never handling more than your capabilities. Use manual handling lift aids where practical. Handheld glass suckers, lifting slings, etc. Mechanical handling methods are always used to replace manual handling where practicable. Machinery. Machinery forms a large part of the operations in Duggan Systems. As such, you will be trained on any machine you are asked to use. Refer to the machine's safety board prior to use of the machine. It contains information on the hazard elements of that machine and the personnel trained and authorized to use the machine. Moving plant and machinery are always segregated from personnel using clear access routes. erecting exclusion zone barriers with signage and spotters in place to safely guide plant and machinery moving from A to B. Pedestrians must always remain alert to moving plant and machinery, keep to the designated walkways, and adhere to the exclusion zones set up. Hand tools. You will use hand tools frequently throughout your works. Ensure you select the correct tool prior to commencing works. Complete a visual check of the tool. Look and see if the tool is in good condition. Is the handle damaged? Is the head loose? Is the blade blunt? Inspect cables for damage. Ensure you are wearing the correct PPE when you use a hand tool. For example, glasses, face visors, or safety gloves. During works with hand tools, ensure your spare hand is kept as far from the processing zone as possible. Work from an appropriate workstation and use a clamp where practical. Working at height. When you work at height, you must always use the approved method access, as detailed within your method statement. Never improvise. Dependent on the task, different access methods require different approaches. Remember, frame ladders and straight ladders are forbidden from use. Noise. Due to the operations of our many machines within the factory, noise levels can be excessive. High noise levels can cause hearing loss, irritation, annoyance, fatigue, and can be a source of distraction, which might result in a secondary injury occurring. For this reason, hearing protection is mandatory at all times within the factory. Loading of materials. Loads going from the factory to the site and vice versa must be 100% secured to the truck in accordance with the training received and your method statement. Always assess the task at hand, including the weather conditions. Assess the materials to be loaded, the equipment to hand. Remember, for manual handling, use mechanical aids where practical. Put together a plan for safe loading. Brief all personnel involved in the task of this plan prior to the commencement of the loading task. If you have any doubts, stop the task and contact management for further guidance. Compressed air. Compressed air is air under pressure and as such is very hazardous. Never direct a compressed air jet at yourself or other people. When compressed air is used on dust, the dust can become airborne and inhaled, so please be careful when you're using compressed air. First aid and accident reporting. Our first aiders will help you if you become unwell at work or if you have an accident. Make yourself familiar with the first aider in your work area. If you have an accident, it must be reported to your supervisor immediately. Your supervisor will notify the first aider. For site injuries, the main contractor, contracts manager and safety officer must be notified within 30 minutes. The same goes for incidents where no injuries occurred. Reporting of injuries and incidents facilitates a thorough investigation and permits a control measure to be implemented to help reduce the likelihood of a reoccurrence. Parking. When parking on site, always reverse park and make sure that you're not causing an obstruction. Keep the pedestrian walkways clear and follow all site speed limits. Take good observation and use an audible alarm when the site safety rules require it. Fire safety. If you see a fire, sound the fire alarm and follow the evacuation procedure. If you hear the alarm, make safe the work you are doing, go to the nearest exit. Go at once to your assembly point and await further instructions. Do not go back into the building until authorised to do so by the fire marshal. You must sign in with the fire register when you come back to work and remember to sign out when your shift ends. This register forms the roll call in the event of an emergency evacuation. All flammable substances used in the factory must be stored in the flammables cabinets provided when not in use. Restricted access. Some parts of the factory are designated as restricted access. You are not permitted to be in these areas without authorization. Restricted access include the yard, due to the movement of plant and vehicles and large quantities of stored materials, CNC machine areas which must only be operated by trained staff and may move suddenly without warning, and the office area. And finally, These rules are in place to protect you and your colleagues. Safety is everybody's responsibility, but it's really up to you. If something doesn't look right to you, if you see an accident waiting to happen, speak up. Tell your supervisor, tell your safety officer. Whatever you do, don't walk by and expect somebody else to sort it.